So now let's go through some honest, frank discussion. What most get wrong about arm health and durability? One can thread the needle between velocity, performance, and arm pain, health, and durability. In our opinion, that path is the very best way to create and maintain exponential growth. Arm health has to be priority one, and here's why. Not some politically correct, namby-pamby, nice-sounding thing. It's because any gains that we make they're not sustainable. This is my biggest problem with the online, you buy the ball, you get the program, right? That thing I think is dangerous because even if I do, let's say I take one of your players and we give him 5 miles an hour, but now his arm pain goes from a 2 to a 7, have I helped him? No, it's only a matter of time till that velo does what? Go down. And if he gets hurt, how many of you would have, if you had a son that's 17 years old, and any of you would like to gain 5 miles an hour, have a Tommy John, and have to spend out a whole year? It's not worth it. I am not willing, the Ranch Consortium is not willing to put one of our clients through something that we wouldn't put our own children through, right? So I would never do for them what I wouldn't do for Garrett or Jake or Ryan or Ty or Cade. What most get wrong about velocity enhancement? This is one of my favorite pictures. Look at that beautiful red hair of his, right? This is a young man that came to us throwing 65 miles an hour as an 8th grader. He's now 96 as a junior in high school. Velocity enhancement is actually formulaic with multiple factors and gains that can rarely be created, let alone sustained, without first a solid foundation of health and durability. This is probably the money slide. If you want to circle your, this is the money slide. This is it. Now some of you are like, it doesn't look like much to me. Well, it's everything, right? If I take everything on the left and I increase it. Let's just say, for argument's sake, I could. We could increase the intent to throw hard. We increase the skill-specific strength. We can increase the skill-specific mobility. We can increase the neuromuscular efficiency. We can increase the synergy, coordination, and motor control. We can improve the contribution to the posterior chain all the way down. Then on the other side, we reduce it. Mechanical inefficiencies, physical constraints, interference or confusion, debilitating influence of others, and most importantly, by far most importantly, we can reduce pain or discomfort. What happens to velo? 100% of the time, not 99% of the time, 100% of the time it goes up. Now some of you are like, oh yeah, really? Try that with Chapman. See if his velo goes up, smart guy. Okay, here's what happens a lot of times. If Chapman now didn't gain 1 mile an hour per peak, but threw more 100 miles an hour on a regular basis, have we improved his velo? Yes, there's a lot of ways you can improve velo, not just one, right? Okay, so here's the problem though, right, or the challenge. You have a pitcher. Think of the one right now that you're really dealing with. It probably won't be one of those things that you need. It's going to be one or two of those that are going to be really important that he's missing. Our guys, and I haven't even said this to anybody else, but Flint, Jonathan, and Tyler and I were in Chicago a couple weeks ago. Eugene, here's the change since I've been doing it. Well, I've been going to Chicago for 16 years, I believe. When we first started to go, we'd have our kids that we've never seen before in Chicago look like this. So you go in there and you pick up some tempo, and all of a sudden they're already throwing harder because they've improved their intent and they improved their tempo, right? Already, you look like a hero, you leave there. We walked in there, and here's what all those 8-year-old kids look like. Right? Every one of them. Every one of them. Like, I don't think I'd ever said this. Slow down, right? When did I ever say slow down? I don't think I've ever said slow down. I almost said I was like Fonzie saying no. Slow. I can't say it, right? But guess what? They didn't need intent. They showed up with intent. That isn't what they needed. There may be somebody else that did. That group didn't need it. That was a big shocker for me, right? So this is how important this is. I never know when I'm working with the pitcher, when we're working with the pitcher, which one or two or three or four of those is going to be most important. I do think mostly pain and discomfort is a really big one, right? Mechanical inefficiencies, physical constraints, they're big, but it's not always the same, right? Now, let's get what most get wrong about strength and conditioning for pitchers. Poor Lee had to see this. And I've got to tell you, Lee Fiocchi is unbelievably good on this account. Unbelievably good on this account. When he said to me, I don't know, it's got to be 10, 12 years ago, his strength, weightlifting is a sport. I'm not interested in a sport. I'm trying to develop strength. What a brilliant idea that is, right? So now, here's what we hear all the time. Mass equals gas. Mass equals gas. How quaint. It's almost poetry. Mass equals gas. Who could argue with that? It's just a bunch of crap. It is just a bunch of crap. Right? It's not true. If it was true, then the center on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, when Tom Brady would throw a ball, would turn around and go, Tom, you throw it like this. And he would throw a ball much better than Tom Brady because Tom Brady doesn't have a lot of mass. And he does. Who's stronger? Now, when we go into a weight room, do you think Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady and Drew Brees do the same weightlifting that the offensive lineman or the defensive back or defensive end does? Absolutely not. I don't think football is telling them to hyper-personalize. They just get the understanding of what the role of the specific position that they play and the demands of that position are. That's what we were lacking with this. Just look at Clayton Kershaw. I've dated girls that have better arms than that. Right? I think, Lee, you were there when Trevor Bauer did his first vertical jump. I think you closed the facility because it was so embarrassing. Right? It's bad. And yet Trevor could throw a baseball 105. Right? Now, look at Justin Verlander. I'll promise you, Kate Upton didn't pick Justin for the body. Right? No. It's not, right? They're not a lot. These are elite. So it's unique demands. Now, so here we literally have 8 world-class athletes on this slide. 8. World-class. Top of the line. One of them is a bodybuilder, best in the world. One is a power lifter. You won't want to meet him at the end of an alley late at night. That guy scares me. Garrett says he frightens him. Now, all of them are elite players. All of them are elite athletes. We have to rethink what we're doing on the strength and conditioning development. We just got to rethink it. So here's Tom Brady again. That hoodie is just embarrassing, isn't it? Tom Brady in the hoodie. That's right. There's NFL superstars. Running back, defensive end, and quarterback. So not only do we have it's sport specific, but it is skill and position specific. Now, let's talk about mobility. Thank goodness we don't have to be as mobile as the guys on the left. By the way, if you ever see me in any of these positions on the left, dial 911, something went terribly wrong. Right? We have to be mobile enough to do what's on the right. Right? So what we say, we have to be strong enough. We have to be mobile enough. Now, here's the next one. Who is the better athlete? Now, let's vote. I'm not going to have you vote, but just vote in your head. Which one's a better athlete, right or left? Now, you're like, I know the guy to the right. That guy, right? Usain Bolt, that guy, okay? They're both the best in the world. Right? Anybody here run the mile in high school or anybody? Todd, not you. You run the mile? Do you run the mile? Poor guy. I did too. Right? The best time I ever had, 5:10. Now, I should be getting a lot of kudos. I can't believe I didn't get applause for that. I run a 5:10. Now, 5:10. Eugene, 5:10, high school. That's pretty good, right? This guy run he run a 4:37 mile and then run 25 more just for fun. When I run 5:10, I fell down on the ground. I would have been a half a lap behind him, and he was just on his way to 25 more miles. This is an incredible athlete, yet they're completely different. World class. We need to be thinking of that when we're doing this, right? It is so position specific, skill germane. The context of the skill matters. What about Armstrong? Who was better? I know, all that other stuff, right? But who was better at biking than Armstrong for a 10-year period? Nobody. Yet, here's what he ran the marathon in, right? This is a world-class competitor, world-class shape. He ran a 2:46 marathon. You know what that got him? He wasn't even in the top 100. Right? So when people say to me, well, I didn't want to condition my pitchers. For what? I assume you mean to pitch. To bike? To run? To swim? What are we trying to do? Do we really think that if we take two swimmers, one, the world's best 50-meter free, and world's best swim the English Channel, they're both swimming, do you think they would train the same? No. Yet it's still swimming. This is why you have to think differently, right? So when you're in the process of this, you're thinking differently. I go back to that quote. You don't have to treat them all like unicorns. That's funny to me. It's almost comedic, right?